Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to your Monday night edition of the Suffolk Non-League Show. I am James. He is Adam. And once again, it's 8:30. We are live across Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for all of your talking points from the week. I think it's been a pretty quiet week, to be honest, hasn't it, Adam? Not really much to go
through. Nothing has happened. I'm bored of football.
I think it's going to go. A bit quiet tonight. I'm not sure.
Can't imagine anyone to talk about anything in particular.
How are you anyway? Before we kind of dive into the nitty gritty, how are you?
Yeah, really good actually. We had a good weekend, didn't we? Got a match day experience in. I got another game in the Tuesday before. I went and watched Brampton play against Witton.
Yep.
So I've managed to take a couple of games in this week. It's been all good fun. Won't be taking any more in for a while, but that's how we roll.
We'll see about that. I'll talk to you afterwards because I've got my eye on a couple midweek games.
I can't go.
You can.
That's it. I can't. I'm done.
You can. I will make sure that you're there. I'll make sure you're there.
I'm done.
We'll talk afterwards. But yes, another absolutely action-packed show to get through tonight. Obviously, there is the main talking point, which we'll get to in a minute, and I will bring up all of your hello messages up on the screen. I hope everyone is doing amazingly well. Normal bit of admin for tonight. If you are watching this on Facebook, please give the video a share so that as many people on your timeline will know about it. If you're watching this from a YouTube perspective, remember to subscribe to the channel, where the last time I checked, we're 3 subscribers away from 1,500.
Ooh, milestone.
Yeah, exactly. If we can get 3 more subscribers, we'll be on 1,500, which would just be absolutely amazing. So if you could do that, that would be incredible. You just need a Gmail account, sign into YouTube, hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on. And when you are there, hit the thumbs up on the video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and spreads it out as far as it possibly can. If you are watching from Twitter perspective, go over to Twitter now and give the video on my page a retweet. If I can get to 20 retweets for tonight, just to try and get the spread out as much as we possibly can, I want as many of you involved as the chat as we possibly can. So if you want to get involved in the show, that's the way to do it. So just
anyone with Twitter, give it a retweet.
Exactly. If you're over there, go over to my page, retweet it now. So that is that out of the way. Just want to say an absolutely massive thank you. You will be able to see on the screen here, we have a new addition. 2 new additions actually to the sponsorship side of the show, which we cannot thank those guys enough for what they have done for the show and continue to help it to grow. So again, just a reminder, all 4 links for the companies will be in the description below. We've got GBS, which is a family-run construction company in Ipswich, operating nationwide with over 30 years experience, offering fire protection, diamond drilling, commercial building, health and safety, and asbestos removal. Starling and Lock, which is a self-employed electrician since 1989, offering domestic work and certificates for people buying and selling houses. They are NIC EIC member. Matchday Marketing, which you guys know who Matchday Marketing are. Sports marketing and branding company helping enhance the image and profile of grassroots football and non-league clubs at a very low cost, utilising 20 plus years in the game. And your shirts, eye-catching, professional-looking garments for your business, team, club, and organisation, with a range of printing methods to cover all individual needs. If you want a link for any of those companies, they are down in the description below. They've helped transform this show and what we are able to offer. So really appreciate all of those companies, especially the 2 new ones coming on board with the news and everything that's coming out. Really appreciate what those guys have done. So massive shout out to them. Adam, partner clubs, explain to people what they need to do to become a partner club.
More important now than ever that we all kind of join forces together. So if anyone wants to be a partner club, join in. We want coverage from as many teams across the locality as we can possibly get now over the next 4 weeks minimum. Get on here, drop me a message. Like my inbox is open. Say that you're happy to join it. I'll get you on a group chat where I'll just drop the link to the show and we can retweet that out to spread our message far and wide. But for us, that means we've got a bank of people that we know are happy to work with us, and we can get you on and discuss all your club news, anything that's going on with the club very easily whenever we want. And we really give you carte blanche to sort of say to us, you've got something going on, and we'll promote it for you happily as well.
Definitely. So we've had a host of new people on board this week, which has been absolutely amazing. Again, if you want to get involved in that, just drop Adam a message over on Twitter. You can slide into his DMs as much as you want. And we do want to say a massive thank you to all of our Ko-fi and Patreon members as well. You are the lifeblood of the channel. You keep what we're doing going on a consistent basis. The Patreon people on the left-hand side are regular monthly contributors towards the channel, and the people on the right-hand side are the Ko-fi members who make one-off donations. We really, really appreciate all of you guys and what you do. Let's get your hellos up on the screen. I want to get everyone on board. Ryan Johnson, evening, lads. Hope you're doing well, Ryan. Luke Gifkins is in the house. Evening, lads and ladies. Shem is in the building. Evening, all. Evening, mate. Irvin's here. Evening, peeps. Dan Hiscock is in the building as well as Connor Ellis. Monday night, and here we go again. Evening, guys. Evening, Dean. Hope you're doing well.
Keep going as well, Dean. Don't worry.
Hope you're doing well. Alex is in the building. I saw your tweet, mate. Absolutely superb. Watching us on the TV. That is what it's all about. Absolutely love that. Bloomfield is in the house. Mr. JB, hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Evening, love in the background, Adam. Look at your fancy green screen. I've got
the upgrades in. I'm in my office. I've upgraded my Wi-Fi for you, James, because you moan about it every week. I've gone out there. I've done the bits. We're ready to go.
Can I just say, I want to just get this out there. The sponsorship money has not gone on that green screen. I just want to clarify, it has not.
Nor is my money, but that's a different story.
Not gonna ask. Good night, man. Tony, evening, mate. Hope you're doing it well. Andy is in the building. Evening, mate. Mark Watts, enjoy, boys. Let's go COVID mad again. Jamie Sanders, good evening, lads. Hope you're doing well. Stuart Spreadbridge is here. Evening, all from Sean as well. Bucks is in the building. Hi, guys, as well. Dan Barnard, good evening, mate. Welcome to the Null and Void SIO season. Matchday Marketing, evening, gents. Again, thank you very much, my friends, for what you've done and sponsoring the show. Really, really appreciate it. Craig retweeted, and hi. I believe you mean retweeted. I'm going to go with retweeted. There he is, retweeted. He does mean that. Evening, gents, from Glenn. Addy Ellis, evening, everybody. Matthew, hi, lads. Hope you're well. Yes, we are well indeed. Yeah, amazing stuff. Adam, there's only one real place to start tonight. I mean, it's the news that we all thought was coming. We didn't want it to come, but football, for at least a month, is coming to a grinding halt. We are in lockdown 2.0, although it's not officially a lockdown because you can still go out and do stuff and go to work, etc. But football, from an amateur perspective, we had it confirmed by Boris in the House of Commons today, is no more. Your immediate thoughts?
Genuinely, I'm actually gutted. Like you can know it's coming, but it's just so annoying. It's like I was speaking to James Bloomfield last night, and you get to that point where you start to go out and go to games. Like we went on Saturday, 4 of us, out to the game, and it's like you start to do things that are like genuinely enjoyable and a bit more of your normal social life back again, rather than these weird, like fragmented parts of reality that we've been sort of drip fed since, I don't know, May. And then it's kind of the rug gets pulled from under your feet again, and then there is no football, and then you're told to stay at home, and it's rubbish, really. But like, you know, I think I sort of expressed that in front of my wife, and then realised that I was kind of making it sound like I didn't want to spend time with her. So, there's no problem with being at home, but at the same time, like,
brilliant.
It's just annoying that, like I say, those social things that you rely on. I put a tweet out that did rather well on Saturday morning that I think like people need football as much as football needs us. It's a real community thing locally, and to lose that after so much good work has gone in. We've covered some really good bits on the show over the last few weeks about how clubs have improved their socials and how we're seeing local lads play for their local teams again, and all these different bits and pieces. And then you just wonder, like, I then get all them dark thoughts around the fact, like, are clubs actually going to make it through the other side? Are they ever going to let us start football up again, or are we just going to have to like leave it? And I've become quite negative about it. But I think we've just got to let it play out. And what you said earlier is there's been a lot of stuff building up to this. Like a lot of teams locally have lost games due to COVID. Barham have barely played a game because of COVID.
Yeah,
and other things like it is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd love for everyone to let us know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you make of the decision? That's, we've got a guest who's currently waiting to come on, and we're going to bring him on in just a moment to go through the impact that it's having at their club and what is going to be happening for the foreseeable. But I'd love to hear from all of you in the comment section. What are your initial reactions to it? What are your thoughts? Has the right decision been made, or is there the wrong decision? Because I said to you before we came on, didn't I, Adam, that it's been coming. We knew that this was potentially going to be happening. But for me, I just find myself more frustrated with it than anything. When you look at the bigger picture, clubs have put themselves in, they've followed all the rules. We followed all the procedures that we had to do. We had everything set up. Every club that I've been to has been following it perfectly. We've got the track and trace system, which is there. You have to scan yourself in to get into the clubs.
Yeah.
If there's not, there's been a sign up sheet where you have to put your details in. Everyone has got the sterilizing stuff there, hand sanitizers, all that kind of stuff. Every club has got all of those things in place. A lot of clubs actually won't let you in unless you're wearing a face mask. Some people are getting to that kind of level where they're saying, well, this is the rules that we're going to play. This is what you have to do. Everyone has set things up. We are in an open space. We're not in a confined area where, like, restaurants or bars or cinemas or whatever the case may be. We're out in the open. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't see where the risk is coming from, and I've yet to see. Actually, I had a little bit of a look into it. I'm yet to see any evidence that suggests that you can get the virus by going to a football match.
I don't know if anyone's actually been contacted by the track and trace, but I suppose that's not even the point, is it? Like, I think what's annoying is that I've never seen it done badly at a club I've gone to.
No, I haven't.
I haven't gone to loads of clubs. There's people in the chat I know already that have been to many, many more games than I have. But I haven't seen anyone do it poorly. And I suppose it just poses the question that if you open up football, what else can you open up? Well, where do you draw the line? And I think because it's an outdoor activity and stuff, it's just very hard to stomach the fact that it's being pulled away from you because it's a social thing as well. Yeah.
I think when it's when you're allowed to have the higher leagues continuing and we're being told we can't, when they're in the same environment.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's annoying me more than anything.
The definition and the split of elite sport is frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get some of your comments up on the screen here. So we've got Bourneville United Reserves are saying lockdown for a disease with a 99% survival rate is ridiculous. Sick of it. It will probably be the end of our social club. Dana said Super 6 is going to be interesting for Saturday. Don't worry, Dan. We've got that covered. We'll talk more about that.
Super 6 is such an interesting topic this week. Shocking results this week.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a moment. Dan said, gutted the season had been paused, but we all knew it was all going to be happening. Was just about seeing how many games I could go to until this happened. Alex is saying some clubs will seriously struggle during this period. Let's hope we can all rally around and help everyone if needed. We're all here as one football community at the end of the day. 100%.
That's the thing, and that's 100%. Part of the point of the community club and the partner club thing that we try and run. Is that it's building that whole sort of network of clubs where we're all prepared to help each other a bit. And I think the local football scene has that feel about it. And that's the differentiator for me between this and going and watch elite football and why I don't enjoy it anymore. And I know loads of people, in non-league football still watch Liverpool or whoever on the TV. I can't do it anymore. I'm just completely out of love with it.
Yeah, definitely. And just around that, before we kind of move on to other people's comments about we're all here for each other. I just want to stress the point that throughout all of this, how long it takes, whether or not it is the month that's been stated or whether or not it's longer than that, myself and Adam are going to continue to be here every single Monday at 8:30. We will be live. And Alex, I can see you waving in the group. I can see you waving, yeah. Alex. You will be there as well. Every Monday, we are going to be here. We are not going to stop this show just because there's no football results to talk about. All right? I just want to stress that point because we are going to need to have this show for our own mental health, as well as you guys are going to need it for yours as well, because this is going to be the one consistent whilst football is not here. Other shows might drop. We are not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere. And I just want to stress that point because I know a lot of people who have messaged out, and especially after last week's reaction, I don't know about you, Adam, but I got quite a lot of DMs from people thanking us.
It's been a busy week.
Yeah. I just wanted to stress that point before we move on any further.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got Addy Ellis is saying gutted about his Stanton finally win a couple of games and we have to stop. From a results point, it's definitely there. Neil just said the COVID scam continues. Ryan Johnson gutted about it, but if this helps football come back for longer and safer, I'm not too bothered about waiting a month. That's an interesting way of looking at it. It will be much longer than a month. I have to agree. To be honest, I am worried about the initial month period, whether or not it's going to be that way. Sean has put, I don't understand how schools, etc., can stay open, but 22 players can't play football.
Especially because kids are more likely to lick each other than players in most scenarios.
Unless your name's Luis Suarez.
Well, yeah, I was going to say there are exceptions to that, I suppose.
Matchday marketing. Glad I've produced nearly 100 match promos for November that won't be seen. Oh, I'm gutted for you.
Just use it as your advertising role, mate. So, help clubs get their social media back on track.
Definitely. Yeah, this is now your month from club social media perspective. If you want to up your game, this is the man you need to go to.
Nail it.
Simple as that. Neil Davis, flu deaths are now being reported as COVID deaths since the two were recently combined for reporting purposes. Dean Cooper, it is what it is. It's frustrating, disappointing, expected. However, there are a lot more players getting COVID-19 and games being called off, as we all know. Just do not see how all football is not going to be halted. This, again, it comes back to my point I made earlier. We are following the rules and clubs are postponing their games at the right points. So it's not as if people are going into games knowing that they've got players who are unwell. We are all following the rules. Games have been postponed for that reason. So it's not as if anybody is deliberately breaking the rules. That's what, again, comes back to frustrating me. And so we all know this was going to happen. Restarting it will be a problem, though, on there as well. Right.
I think restarting is the issue.
Yeah.
Me, and I think our guest will probably touch on that a bit in a moment.
Shall we bring our guest in?
Yeah, we haven't actually revealed ahead of time who it is we've got coming in, so
we haven't.
Yeah. It's a very good one for you all.
Yeah, definitely. I'm delighted to be able to say that tonight we are joined by Bury Town Chairman Russell Ward. Russell, how are you doing, my friend? You all right?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Very good.
How obviously I know you've spoken a bit to the local press today, and you've kind of given your initial thoughts on it. But just for those who haven't read your part in there, what do you make of the announcement to postpone football?
To be honest, it's inevitable, really, with the way things have been going. It hasn't been a shock. It is tough because we all want to play football. All the clubs want to be involved, but something had to give. I still can't get my head around the fact that schools, universities, and that will still be open because that appears to be part of the problem. I'm not saying the whole problem, part of the problem. But we need to get the disease under control. The last lockdown obviously did to a certain extent. And something needs to happen. It can't keep going on as it is.
Yeah.
You think for football's sake, we could have benefited from stopping just for a couple of weeks, maybe a little bit earlier? rather than now having 4 weeks without, because fixture congestion from this is going to be quite serious.
I'm not a person who's voted in my life. I've never voted. I've got no political persuasion either way. But obviously, hearing the comment, and obviously Keir Starmer turned around and said perhaps half term was the time to do it. And I think he's probably right. It would have been a better time to do it. Might have got it under control a bit earlier. But we need to do something. There is too many games being called off. I mean, we were victims of that earlier on during friendlies. Obviously, when we had a situation with the Walsham game, the week after that happened, there was new guidelines came out, and basically the guidelines at the moment are that if someone does test or have symptoms or looks to test positive, you don't actually have to call the game off. You just need to isolate that person, and you can carry on. So it does. This seems strange that games have been cancelled, especially when you look at the Barnet-Leiston game, where Barnet had virtually a whole team plus the manager who were all positive, and they still played the game. And I do think that some of the games are being called off a bit too willy-nilly.
That's a fair comment, to be honest. Fair comment. I mean, how do you think, obviously, from your perspective, from Bury Town, you've already mentioned about the fact that the league games are. I think you've only played, or you've had 3 confirmed results this season in the league. Can you realistically, with the month now being called off, can you realistically see that us being able to finish the season at the rate that we're going?
We've actually played 4 now because we have been given the Whittam game now at last.
Right. Yeah.
So we've actually played 4. We are going to lose 7 games over the next month. If we get playing again in December, I can see those games being fitted in. If we end up being locked down till start of January, then I think we'll have a problem, because bearing in mind that January and February will probably be poor weather months, I think we might well have a problem getting all those games in. So it all depends what happens in early December, really.
Yeah, that's a good point on that one. Let's get a few of your comments up on the screen, and I'd want to see how you kind of what your thoughts are on this one. We've got Jamie, who says it's not been helped that a lot of clubs are using dressing rooms. Wasn't it supposed to be for essential use only and a maximum of 6? Most clubs, not all, are cramming 16 into a dressing room at once. I mean, I haven't personally seen that. The games I've attended, I've been seeing people getting changed outside. I mean, I don't know what your kind of rules are at Bury there, Russell.
A club controls different at separate levels.
No, they're not. No, the guys are still the same for all levels. Yeah, I mean, probably after game, we may well have been a bit guilty because obviously all the players come off. They all want to get in the shower. Obviously, midweek games are really, really difficult with the 10 o'clock curfew. And normally on a Saturday, the players want to get into the bar, have something to eat. We don't do any of that midweek now, as far as we're concerned. By the time they come out, the game's finished, they come out, and the clubhouse is closed, and everyone goes home. So yeah, I can't turn around and put my hand on heart and say that we have, as a club, stuck to the rule of 6, especially after the game. The other thing you have to look at as well is obviously, now the weather's changing. It's very difficult to have all the players out on the pitch at half time for a team talk when it's absolutely pelting down with rain. So it is a difficult thing, and I think every club would probably have to be honest and admit they haven't been 100% with the rules all the time. But it is very, very difficult. It's a tough thing. And perhaps the month's break, if we can get the disease under control, come back and perhaps they'll look at it and have some different guidelines.
I think locally it's been recognised that Bury have very successfully filled the ticket allocation week in, week out. There's a big demand to see Bury play. A lot of clubs might be feeling a bit of a strain on sort of secondary income. As chairman, have you had to sort of think of different ways of making sure that you can keep things buoyant within the club, or have you noticed a drop in secondary income compared to last season?
To be honest, we've been lucky. We've been sold out for every single game so far. The income from that has been good. We felt we were doing everything right. We had social distance in the clubhouse. We had a maximum of 6 tables for table service with 4 people sitting at a table, so a maximum of 24 people sitting down in the clubhouse. Obviously, last Friday, as been documented, the council came to us at 2 o'clock and said there's certain things we could no longer do. Obviously, the weather wasn't good on Saturday at our home game with Romford. We had to put more tables in the clubhouse, and even though we maintained the social distancing, there were times when we probably had between 80 to 100 people in the clubhouse sitting down, rather than the 24 we normally had. So, those guidelines are very, very difficult, in my personal opinion, and I am taking this up with the council, is that the way we were operating was better than the way they want us to operate, and the way the law, as they say, is telling us to operate. At the moment, we can have social distance 80 to 100 people in the clubhouse. We don't want that. We want them outside. But while they can't eat or drink standing outside, we can't achieve that. So I've been speaking to the council since then. We lost income-wise, and obviously it's not profit, but income-wise, we were probably about £1,300 down on Saturday. And I'm meeting the council at 9:30 tomorrow morning to discuss it.
How responsive are they to wanting to have those discussions, without creating it into like a them and us, sort of them and us kind of thing? Are they wanting to have those discussions to try and get businesses back to the best possible situation?
I'll be perfectly honest about it. They wanted a virtual meeting, which I've declined, because I said we need a meeting at the football club so they can actually see how we've been operating, how we want to operate, and how 100%. We can operate. I have now got a meeting with them at the club tomorrow morning at 9:30. A virtual meeting wouldn't work because I need them to see what we're up against, and to see that we can find some common ground within the law, because I accept it is law because it's been passed by government, to operate in the best possible way for us, but also to make sure we don't contribute to passing the disease on.
I've got a lot of respect for the fact that you're actually pushing that boundary to sort of say, like, I think you need to come and see what we're doing, because I think that's it. I think doing things from a distance, people don't know and maybe sometimes can guess what's going on, but when you can actually show what you're doing and show the impact that it makes with the rules that they're trying to impose, I think that's the right route forward. It's doing the right thing for me, anyway.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, it's difficult to quantify where the disease is actually being transmitted. But I heard on the radio tonight on the way home that the Morton Hall thing, which we think we feel that the situation with us has been brought on because of the Morton Hall thing in Bury. But I heard tonight that the majority of cases on Morton Hall have come from one of the schools, and because the school is part of Morton Hall, that's why the rate is so high. Right. We're in a situation now where everyone is now scratching their head saying, why are the schools and universities still being kept open?
Yeah. No, I have to admit, because I work in and around that facility as well, and we haven't, our work hasn't been contacted at all to say you can't go to this place, you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you want to be safe at all. We've had absolutely zero communication from anybody in there, but I reckon I think you are right. That could well be the reason why you're being told that you need to have all of these restrictions in place.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, I'll find out more tomorrow, obviously, but I still think that the way we were operating before, there was less chance of a transmission because we had less people enclosed in the clubhouse. We had a maximum of 24 people in there eating and drinking, and on Saturday, the weather didn't help Saturday, and obviously, every club that had a home game in the area Saturday struggled with the weather. The weather didn't help, but at times I had between 80 and 100 people in the clubhouse, and my personal opinion is they would have been better outside eating and drinking than in the clubhouse eating and drinking.
I think one of the other challenges that we're coming across is I'm seeing a lot of clubs that have sprayed boxes on the floor to help with social distancing. I'm sure you've done it online, I know you're on Twitter quite a bit, and it's something that clubs are actually advertising, sort of say don't stand in the hatched area, 6 only in the boxes. Do you think the passion of football itself makes social distancing quite a difficult thing to carry out in reality when a game gets going.
But yes, without a doubt, it definitely does. And that is something that you have to try and manage. But I'll also turn around and say on the side of it that when you walk around a town centre, when you go into a main supermarket, that there's no one there to stop people not socially distancing. And obviously, football has been targeted to say that once someone comes into your ground, you have to make sure via your stewards, via your tenor announcements, that people socially distance. But you can walk around the town centre anytime you want, and if someone invades your space, there's no one there to turn around and say you can't do that apart from yourself, which would invariably perhaps cause a problem. So I think football clubs have been targeted because you're in an enclosed area, which is your area, and you've been told you have to police it 100%. And as much as you want to try and police it, it's very difficult because you then need people to take responsibility themselves. And unfortunately, in that situation of a game of football, a goal scored, a penalty, whatever, people do forget that. And you end up with momentary lapses where it goes against what you want and what is probably required. But those are, I believe, those are momentary lapses. And it was, I said, I touched on earlier on when we had the problem when we played against Walsham. The guidelines we had come back to say that players on the pitch had to be in close contact with the same person for 15 minutes to stand a risk of getting infected. And I'm not sure that, within that time, people celebrating a goal, people celebrating a penalty or whatever, you're going to be in that close contact with someone for that period of time.
No. I think that's the thing. I think where I'm getting at with it is that we can try as hard as we can to put things in place. With sport, sometimes the emotion of it gets the better of it all, and you can't always put that on the clubs. And I feel like a lot of stress and strain is being put on clubs, which is actually quite openly costing clubs a lot of money to make the adaptations. And some of it, just human nature, will mean that it's almost wasted just because of the fact that you're enjoying sport and these things will happen. And I think it puts clubs in a real tricky position. Really tricky position with all of this.
Yeah, definitely, Russell. I want to get your thoughts on a couple of people's comments that they're writing into the live chat. If you want to get any questions in from Russell at this point, please drop it into the comments on here. Shem has put, I can see all cup competitions being scrapped to accommodate for league games if this goes over a month. Is that something that you could potentially see happening?
Yeah, and to be honest, Isthmian League aren't running the League Cup this year. Which makes sense. It's unfortunately for League Cups at whatever level you play football at, they've lost the magic. Perhaps you only got to look at the main league cup in the pro game. It's not like the FA Cup, and I also think that the longer this goes on for, perhaps we need to look at the Suffolk FA. Won't thank me for this, but look at the Suffolk FA Cups and just think, look, there's something bigger out there. We're all playing in the league. We all want to do well in our leagues, and perhaps something has to give. Obviously, the FA Cup has been great for us this year. The FA Trophy was good as well. The national competitions, but something will have to give if the game's got to be fitted in.
Definitely. Paul Musgrove has put, I bet no thought has been given to teams needing to train with an intensity before they go back into competitive games. Injuries will add up. Lads can do all they want on their own, but it's not going to be the same. Is that something that, I mean, you as a chairman, is that where do you even kind of fit those kind of games in? Is that even something that is going to be possible? I can't see that really being allowed. I would have thought the leagues will want you to kind of kickstart the moment we're given the go ahead to get going again.
Yeah, they probably will. But to be fair, I've seen other comments today, and I think it's realistic that if we do get the go ahead after the 2nd of December, realistically, your first games need to be the 12th, not the 5th. I think it will take teams time to get back into it, and I think to be fair, the Isthmian League are very, very good. I'm sure that the Thurlow Nunn are as well, and they'll realise that and think, for the sake of an extra week, let's give clubs an extra week to prepare.
Yeah, definitely. Josh has said, do you think physical education should be allowed for schools using their own sport facility? Josh added a further comment up on this earlier on. I just want to bring it up on here. Yeah, so do you think that PE should be allowed for schools? If you know, especially from a youth level, that must be another factor for you as a chairman that you've got to look into. It's not just the first team, is it?
Personal opinion, I honestly think schools should be shut as well.
Right.
So that would nullify that, because you only look at it. I spoke about earlier on that the Morton Hall thing, that 40 of the cases on Morton Hall, or about 40, were attributed to a school, and I just think that we've all seen the pictures of universities where people have gone back to uni and they've gone out and celebrated and whatever, and I honestly think that there was obviously perhaps a bit of a myth that youngsters couldn't catch COVID in the early days, but it seems to be that obviously that was a myth, and it can be transmitted by them. And I honestly think that schools being open is not going to help the situation.
Yeah, definitely. Have you guys as a club thought about the options moving forward as to how you'd be looking to try and end the season if we had to come to that point? Because I know clubs were messaged, weren't they, Adam? I think it was last week, about how they would like the season.
I don't know how far. I'm not quite sure where that went in the pyramid. I know there was a survey sort of put out as to whether null and void or points per game was the route to go. I don't know. Sort of, it feels so early to be making that shout, but I already feel like people would be voting politically.
I mean, is that something that you guys have even talked about at this point, or is that more of a conversation for a few months down the line where we see where we're at after the new year?
But if it stops now, we'll have points per game.
Finish it.
Brilliant.
No, I think there's a caveat in there that it is a percentage of game, probably 75% has been bandied about. It's a hard one. I think last year I was a big advocate of it all being knocked on the head, start again. I think now we've been through that, we all realise we can't do that every single season. I would, even though we're in a strong position at the moment, there's an awful lot of games to go. I would think probably points per game this year, because 2 years without a promotion and relegation thing would be tough to take. So I think this year probably points per game would be the right way to go.
Right. Interesting. Tony's put a comment on here saying the SIL already dropped league cups. If this goes beyond Christmas, SIL will have to take 50% of league games option, play teams only once. I mean, I suggested, I can't remember who I was talking to the other day actually, but I suggested maybe only one round of fixtures just to get to the end of the season.
Before the game Saturday.
Right, there you go. It was Adam. There you go. It's always Adam I'm talking to. Is that something that you think might be an option, to only have one round of fixtures this season, if it just means that we can get to an end of the season?
I'm not sure that the FA would agree to that. I'm not sure, because I just think that might be a stumbling block, because obviously we're all governed by the FA. No matter what the individual leagues come up with, it would have to be ratified by the FA. Personal opinion, I think they would void it before they agree to that. Right. That's my personal opinion. I think they would. You'd need to have, somewhere. Yeah, it's tough, because out of those 50% games, someone could have ended up having 3/4 of those away and 1/4 at home, depending how it was. The games were sorted out. You'd never get in a situation where, if you played 50% of the games, you had exactly half of those at home and half away, and someone would feel aggrieved if it went against them.
Yeah.
Sponsors would start to feel aggrieved about stuff as well, wouldn't they, due to exposure and stuff like that?
Yeah, I suppose that's another factor.
I think sponsors, they're being massively understanding with football at the moment, but I think if we had another null and void season, there could be problems, I think, there with some things. I think like we spoke about, just getting rid of some of the other cups a moment ago. For that to even happen, I suppose Suffolk FA are going to have the conversations with the right people to say Yabby is getting rid of it. And that agreement's going to have to happen before the FA even choose to do it because they're paid. It's a funny situation.
It's tough for everyone. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no winners out of this. No winners whatsoever.
No.
And it's making the best of you can with every single situation. End of the day, whatever happens, none of us can control it. It's been controlled by other forces. We will go along with it, whatever's decided, because we have to. We can't turn around and start dictating, saying this must happen. We have to put faith in the football authorities. I know the FA gets some stick over a lot of things, but they run the show. The Isthmian League, the Third Unknown League, all the other leagues will have their input into whatever's decided. But it's what it is, and it's no point. We could be. We've played 4 games. We've only dropped 2 points per game. If we carried on like that, we could be top of the league. We could be looking at promotion. But if there's some factor that comes in and says the season is null and void, it's something you take on the chin and we move on and we get to next year. My biggest concern is, and I've said it to the press, I don't want the end of this season to mess up the start of next season, really. If someone turned around and said the season would have to run through till June, July, we haven't got the luxury as Bury Town of having a 3G pitch. We've got a grass pitch. We need a minimum of 8 weeks over the summer to try and get the pitch ready for next season. There has to be a point where, someone draws a halt to it and says, let's not mess up next season as well.
Yeah.
So it's I know everything's pie in the sky at the moment because we just don't know. But let's not mess up next season. Let's if we have to forfeit another season, then that's what it takes. But let's try and get through this and then try and move on.
I mean, one final question from me, and then I'll see if Adam's got any final ones he wants to ask you. I think you answered it partly earlier on, but realistically, how long do you think we can go on with having the leagues put on hold before a decision is going to have to be made? Do you think there's kind of like a cut-off point where we say, right, we're now mid-January, nothing's gone any further, we need to kind of scrap this? Do you think there's a cut-off point?
You probably hit the nail on the head, probably mid-January. I would even say perhaps early January. If we're not playing football again by the first week in January, then there needs to be a big rethink about how we're going to complete the season. Because the weather will be against us. That will be the biggest thing. It's changed. I must admit, I'm 60 now. When I was a kid, winter was. You got into October, it was starting to get winter. November was always a bad month. December was, January, and then once you got through January, then February was getting okay. It's now shifted a bit. We never get a Christmas with snow. We normally get the bad weather in January, February, even into March now. It's shifted. So I think if we're not playing football by soon in the new year, there will have to be a big rethink. Yeah.
Adam, any final questions from yourself?
No, not really. I just wanted to congratulate you on what you've achieved at Bury this season so far. Like I say, it's the club consistently selling out. You've obviously had the new stand, putting their new fencing around the perimeter, new lights, and there's obviously a good feeling there. So for me, just a well done on what you've created so far, and I do hope that we can get back to some sort of normality soon, and almost a continuation of that can be seamless for you because you've put the hard graft in, and it'd be, it's not something that locally you want to see sort of slip away a bit just because of external circumstances.
Yeah.
No, it's right, and we've put a lot of effort out there. So I will say, there is one person who needs to take credit for the stand, the floodlights, and everything. That's my son, Chris. He's 33 now. He's known nothing apart from Bury Town since he was 8. 25 years. He put we put all the effort in to get the grants and did everything else for over the summer. So, well done to him. The club is on the up. We're lucky that we've got some really, really talented footballers have come in. It's all starting to gel. Ben Chenery must take a lot of credit for the way he's got the players playing. The good times are there, and I think it shows it with the crowds we're getting. Hopefully it will continue. We can start playing football again, and we'll keep on pushing up. So appreciate the time you lads given me to come and talk about the club on here, and let's hope we can all be playing football again soon.
It's been a fantastic insight, Russell. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, again, echo Adam's word. Really, really appreciate you coming on, Russell. Really, really thank you very much for your time. Adam, really, really, really good chat there. Really honest chat.
Yeah, loved it. Really good
chat. Interesting to get a chairman's perspective on how things are done, because obviously we as fans talk and we have our own opinions about things, but I suppose those are the guys in the know and they're the ones that get the updates on a regular basis. But yeah, it's just really interesting to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, I think so. Like we spoke a little while back when we started this, that we'd like to get a broader spectrum of people on here.
Yeah,
and it's interesting with Russell. You can feel and hear how passionate he is about making sure the right thing is done. And you know me, James, I'm always one to fight for the right thing to happen and the right outcome. And I like that. I like the fact that he's getting the local council pulled in, making sure they see what he's done, and making sure he challenges that to get the right outcome. And as he said, like there's obviously a good feel-good factor around Bury, and having someone behind the club that's pushing it and making sure that all that hard work doesn't get undone by someone that's taking a bureaucratic approach to it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of value on that for the club. A lot of value.
Yeah, I really hope the meeting that he has with him tomorrow goes well. I hope he's able to get his point of view across. I know from a wider picture perspective, it might not do a massive amount, but for things moving forward, hopefully it will have a desired effect and common sense will prevail. That's the most important thing. Let's get a few more of your comments up on the screen about the situation, and then we'll move on, because I think we've spent enough time talking about it. Obviously, we're all bitterly disappointed. Bitterly disappointed about the decision, but unfortunately, it's beyond our control. So Dean has said on here, let's turn it into a FIFA league. Each team sets up their club for 4 weeks, and we battle it out and get the best goals, etc. on there. Brilliant. That's an idea. Zach Johnson said, was brilliant to have football back, but I think the league should have waited until the new year to start. Everyone knew it was going to be held up, etc. Held up / get cut short. Dan Barnard, to be honest, pitches have probably been taking a battering, so the 4 weeks will help them not being played on. All pitches will look like a carpet again. That's a good point. It's a very interesting point there from Dan coming in about the pitches on there. Yeah. Bill has said perhaps games can be played on 3G rather than postpone games if the season restarts. Ground grading might need to be relaxed a little bit on here as well. And there was a comment I saw earlier on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring it back up on here. It really did make me laugh. Here it is. How did YouTube recommend me, you guys? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, but I'm glad that you are here and in the building, mate. I hope you are doing amazing.
That's what the thumbs up does, James. Just sends random people to Suffolk League football.
There you go. Alex, I want to bring you in, my man, just very quickly. Your kind of thoughts on what's been going on. How are you feeling about it in the game? You're a manager of a team. What's your kind of initial thoughts?
I think it's the right thing. I think especially lower levels, i.e. probably SIL level, that sort of range, just because clubs do try as hard as possible to do track and trace and stuff like that. When they've got the facilities for it, where you've only got that one pitch there, you can do it. When you start going to multi-pitches where you've got 4 or 5 games going on at a time, it can be quite difficult to keep it controlled.
Right.
So I think if you've got your own ground, you've got your own stadium and everything like that, I think they probably should have let that go a little bit more. Right. They let the Premier League happen, didn't they? Premier League is still going on.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between having a massive Premier League stadium or a smaller stadium? You can still control it.
I think some of it, for me, comes down to the fact that if there's no fans allowed at all, how many of the non-league clubs want to carry on, can afford to carry on.
Yeah.
Below step 1, there's certainly a good deal of contracted players these days.
Yeah.
And how do you pay for those?
Yeah.
It really does have its own set of challenges that maybe the game wouldn't have really had 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think one of the rules moving forward for a lot of clubs is that they can place players on furlough again.
Yeah.
Is one of the things I read this week. So some clubs will be fine. Do you know what I mean? That in terms of the actual players' wages and stuff like that, they'll be okay.
Yeah, and a lot of clubs as well, they look for player sponsorship instead of. So obviously that's helping with part of paying players as well. If you know what I mean.
Right.
You know, you look at Stowe, they do a lot of player sponsorships. They've done it for quite a few years. People sponsor players and stuff like that. But this is where we need to look into channels, this sort of channel, even clubs having their own channels. If that level was still playing, use it as an advantage. Highlights can be an advantage. Sponsorship in that way would be an advantage. You still get your sponsor name out there. You might not have people actually going there to the ground, but they might watch the highlights and sponsorship that way. It's
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if the FA would relax their rules on broadcasting rights, something could have been done there. But
I think it's frustrating because I think a lot of people have turned around and said we could see it coming. But it's one of those ones you could see it come, but it's still a pain in the backside. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like an MOT every year. Do you know what I mean? You know it's coming. You know it's a pain in the backside because if your car don't get through it, it's going to cost you a lot. And it's been kind of the same thing. We knew that it's coming and we were hoping it weren't, but it has.
Yeah.
But me personally, I think what the government are doing is they're kind of testing certain sectors out. They've done it before where we were all off and it come down. Now they're doing it where we're all off, we're not doing sports, but the kids are still at school. So they're saying, right, okay, so is it going to change with them still being at school? So then it could be sports come back and the school stops.
Yeah.
I don't know. They might do it that way, but
it's
frustrating and financially it's frustrating. But as far as like deciding now the way that leagues are going and stuff like that, I think that's too early. It needs to be a little bit longer before we just even start to get into that, to be honest.
Interesting. Right, shall we move on to the Super Six, Adam?
Yes, let's. There are many people watching, so hopefully most people have entered because I think we've got near on 100 live watchers. I don't know how many on Facebook, but we've definitely got well into the 90s. So
that's good.
I've been speaking to a lot of people about this, trying to get people, because I think it's like I had someone come up to me and trying to go, yeah, but I'm not 18. Can I still do it? It's like, yes, it's just get involved. I don't know the teams. Don't matter. Just get involved with it. It's brilliant. It's a laugh.
Yeah. Exactly. What I'm going to be doing for you guys is that despite the fact that we know that moving forward there's not going to be any non-league games for us to cover from the normal ones that we predicted, we are going to still be doing a Super Six moving forward. All right. So what you'll see on the screen in a moment after we've gone through this week's league table is to show we are going to be doing a Super Six moving forward. All right. So that's the most important thing. It's just going to be involving more higher profile local clubs. All right. So Adam, league table wise, let's bring it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Talk us through some of the big movers on there. I am not happy that I've moved down. I want an independent inquiry into this. I'm not happy.
We need to start off with the obvious improvement that I've learned to count to 1 to 50 and not put 2 number 20s in, as got pointed out last week. So whoever moaned at me for that, I hope you're happy, because it took ages to readjust it all and make it all fall in line again. And it annoyed me, and I was still doing it at midnight last night. So, yeah, that's the first thing. Second, look at what has happened at the top of the league.
We have a runaway leader.
Tommy Smith decides to just knock a 10 in this week.
Ooh.
whilst everyone else is sort of scoring our group average, which is 3 or 4.
Right.
Alex, you got 7 this week, which was like pretty much the second highest. A few 7s and 8s.
That's good.
Went out. So, like the first couple of people I put in, I thought, like, crossed, like, what am I going to have to contend with it? Like, I did a 7, a 10, and then I did a 6, and I was thinking everyone's going to score very, very high. We averaged out around 4 points each, I think, this week.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting. Like, there's a few rivalries which are opening up there. I know Connor's now opened up a couple of point lead over Michael. They're normally in the chat every single week. Oh, here we go. It's about to pop up because I've just seen it on my other screen. That he said about it. There's just some like good individual scores last week. People that haven't played too much then like got an 8. So they're getting very close to showing on the top 60 leaderboard.
So, just to clarify, how many points did I get?
You?
Yeah.
Not enough to really make an impact, James.
Well, not. That's what I'm saying. Not an impact. I want to know how I've managed to drop that far down. I'm not convinced.
You've got 3, which is your consistent score, really.
Okay.
Your week scores. You've had 2, 6, didn't bother to enter. 2, 3, 3.
He's still going on about that didn't bother to enter one.
Because he's worried about where he is in the league, and there he is, not entering 1 week. And I tell you what, this is cheating, and I'm going to let it out there. I had to remind him to actually enter again this week.
I was late this week.
Yeah, well,
I was late.
So there's a few things though to announce, right? So a couple of things for next month. This month, Sidekick for Sports said they'll send a prize out to whoever got the most points for the month of October. And he's just been knocking at my door to sort that out. So, and that actually goes to Tommy Smith, who scored a massive 30 points in October alone.
Wow.
Just to give you all some perspective about how good he is at this, he scored 1 point in 2 of his 6-week entries, or 7-week of entries. So he doesn't get big points every week. But when he doesn't get 1 point, he gets many points. So that's happened. But yeah, that means that something's going to come out to Tommy for the month win. But every month, Sidekick for Sports, every week, the person who wins gets the most points for that week is going to get a free face mask sent out to him as a prize. Now, for next month, November, Football Manager is coming out. So whoever gets the most points in November can have a copy of Football Manager.
Wow.
Thanks to Atlas K9. So yeah, thanks to sponsorship coming in there. We'll do a copy of Football Manager to whoever gets the most points through November alone on our new altered Super 6.
So it doesn't matter if you're not top of the league table overall come the end of November. If you win the most amount of points in November, you will get a copy of Football Manager sent over to you.
Well, I'm gunning for that. Hopefully, I'll get that and probably win some games.
Adam, Thomas has just said, "Who do I need to contact in order for this prize?"
I've already built prize winnings and stuff into my methodology, which is why I ask for your emails when I get the form. So I will email you individually.
There you go.
The only thing that we've got is that we know that some of you are going to be dead keen to play Football Manager. And may buy it before the end of the month. We will talk when we get to the end of the month as to what to do. But because of like the budgeting and everything, we're kind of fairly locked into having to provide a copy of Football Manager. But yeah, so hopefully that gives it another edge this month, and you all know what you're playing for up front. Get your teams involved. Like the whole competition is going to be blown wide open because it's not just our local non-league teams now. It's going to be a little bit different. So
yeah,
I'll have to see what happens. Adam, we'll have a chat later.
Yeah,
because we might be able to do something else. But we'll have a chat later.
Fine. I will have a chat and we'll see what we can do. But this is like, there's such a buzz about the Super Six as well. Like, I do enjoy doing it, and we're up to about 120 entrants overall now.
Right.
And whoever is using a VPN or something to try and get multiple entrants, not funny. I know who you are.
No way. There's somebody doing that.
So someone each week is doing 2 or 3 different entries, and it's confusing me so much.
That's mad.
On a free Super 6, people are really doing that as well.
That's crazy.
Just to try and get additional things in. So, yeah, but it genuinely is funny. But like, I'm just like taking your first score and deleting everything else, I'm afraid.
That's interesting.
Can I just put one note out to people?
Right.
When we do a Super 6, you need to predict the score, not just the team that will win in text.
Right.
You believe the amount of people that just write the team they want to win.
Right.
Predict the score.
Right.
126 entrants we're playing with at the minute.
Nice.
Good.
Very nice. Gavin, no, they are not giving away my copy. I will not give away that copy to all of King Midas' Silver. I'm the moment that game drops, I'm all over it.
James, it is your code that we're giving away, mate.
It's 100% not.
We spoke about this the other day, didn't we, Adam? I turned around and said I think that's a good prize because it's kind of where this all started.
This is where James's family started with Football Manager.
So,
we started talking about Football Manager and wanting to just get more involved ourselves.
God, those are the days. Yeah. Those were the days.
We were thinking about doing a copy of FIFA. I went out for dinner with James last week, and we're saying, why don't we just do a copy of FIFA instead? FIFA's 60 quid.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it?
So,
this is the reason why we might need to have a chat later.
Yeah, we love you all, but FIFA's, crikey, that's a stretch too far. We'll see how we go on.
So, Irvin has put in here, what games are you using? Time for me to enter. Well, that's a very, very good point for us to move on to the next slide to show you the games that we are picking this week. And they are as follows. That's right. The big boys are in town and Ipswich. We have got... I had to drop it in. So the games that we've got for you this week are Norwich versus Swansea, Ipswich versus Portsmouth, Colchester versus Marine, Boreham versus Southend, Port Vale versus Kings Lynn. Those 3 games are FA Cup ties, so anything can happen in the FA Cup. I'd love it if somebody predicted like a 5-1 Marine victory, but we'll see if that happens.
I'm waiting for Vinny to drop in. Where's Marine? Marine can't be a place. You're pulling our legs. Just his normal comment about geography, really.
There you go. Cambridge versus Salford City is the final game. Everybody who is on Facebook and on Twitter and also on YouTube, the link for the survey is now going to be available. I'm going to post it as a separate link on Twitter now. So if you are over there and you follow me, you'll be able to click on that link. Adam, talk us through some of those games. Are you going to give some of your predictions?
Yeah, Norwich are definitely going to lose. Absolute batter Portsmouth. Colchester United versus Marine. I mean, do they play under the sea? Boreham Wood versus Southend. Boreham will win because Southend are terrible. Port Vale versus Kings Lynn. Couldn't even tell you that. Probably Port Vale win. Yeah. Cambridge United versus Salford. Yeah, no, I don't think Cambridge lost for the first time last weekend, but they're a very, very good team. Salford have got nothing but pretty floodlights and Paul Scholes. So
have they still got? Was it Adam Rooney?
No, where he went, but he's not there.
Is he gone?
Yeah.
Do you know who has signed for Salford City?
Oh,
Ian Henderson.
Who?
Ian Henderson.
Really?
Yeah, he plays for Salford. Absolute legend for Rochdale. He's just brilliant. He's an absolutely brilliant player for that level of football. He could do some serious damage that game.
I'll tell you what, whoever does the best out of this Super 6 over the next month will be my first FM save out of these local clubs. That's how I'll choose my first save.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. A very interesting way of looking at it.
See,
Joel is saying Marina going to do a 6-1. I love the optimism.
The FA Cup ones, you've got a. I know it's a bit different because you would expect Ipswich Town to take it seriously, even though they're classed as a bigger club. You would expect them to take it seriously to try and get a bit of silverware, to be honest, and you expect culture to do it as well. But it's always the FA Cup games. There's always going to be one that's going to throw up a shock.
I genuinely think Portsmouth will convincingly beat Ipswich, if I'm being completely honest with everyone. I back Ipswich because they're a local team, but I think Portsmouth will win too much.
I mean, would it be that much of a surprise if Boreham would beat Southend? Because I don't really think it would.
Not the form that Southend have been at. Did you hear on the radio the weekend that how many weeks Southend have now gone without a league win? It's utterly ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah, it's some disgusting amount of time.
Yeah. Brilliant. Stuart's already in it. He's already done it. Nice one, Stuart. Really appreciate you getting involved there. The FA Cup is not a realistic bit of silverware for Ipswich Town, Alex.
I'm always, but I don't support Ipswich. I'm just saying that, you would think that it would be a little bit more realistic than. I don't know. I'm realist. You know what I mean? I think Arsenal are going to win the Premiership one day.
Has anyone watched that Ipswich documentary? James, you probably haven't, but it's dead interesting about the 2000 season.
Right, moving on.
It's quite good. It's on YouTube and it's really, really good.
No, I haven't. So it's weird that I haven't watched that one, Adam.
Why not? Why not, James?
Gives you a info about the team, though, James. I'd watch one about Norwich. I just like a football perspective, mate.
Oh, well, there you go. Michael said Norwich 0, Swansea 10 is a no-brainer.
Shem, really that's what he's actually done as well.
Sorry?
Please tell me that's what he's actually put on the form.
Yeah, he probably will. To be fair, probably will. But yeah, so those are the results. Those are the fixtures that we're going to be doing for the Super Six. We're going to be doing this kind of thing moving forward. We will. We've obviously got Kings Lynn in there, obviously a local non-league team. I suppose they are the non-league team that we're going to be keeping an eye out for moving forward. Norwich versus Swansea, Ipswich versus Portsmouth, Colchester versus Marine, Boreham Wood versus Southend, Port Vale versus Kings Lynn, and Cambridge United versus Salford City. Again, link is available. I'll put it over on Twitter as well. Click on the link, enter the Super Six, and be in with a chance to win November's prize, which is Football Manager 2021. Absolutely.
Michael's put I have, so that means he actually has put that result in there.
I've no idea what all this Football Manager FIFA stuff is about. Won't somebody think of the
I think I can probably get a Zimmer frame for the same cost, mate.
Jesus.
Tony, I think I've got a Sabutio in my loft somewhere. I can get you that for you.
I'll tell you what, I could actually sort out a retro board game. Leave that with me. I've got an idea. I'll talk to you lads about that later.
This is very interesting. It's okay, Tony. I can borrow it off you, mate. And Dean's put on there. Basically, Tony, if you win, you can let me have it. Love it. We've had a comment.
90-minute results, Mike.
Sorry,
they are 90-minute results.
There you go. Brilliant.
Is it on point?
Right, that is the Super Six. That's the Super Six over in Darwin.
James, you've got to put that comment up from Tony.
Daniel Barnard's getting ready to load it on the tape deck on the Commodore. Wait 4 hours to die in 2 minutes.
Commodore 64.
Those were the days.
Oh.
Those were the days. So that's the Super Six over and done with. Let's get a look on the weekend's results and the midweek results that we've also had as well. And to let you guys know about the midweek fixtures that you could be attending before Thursday's cut-off point, because there are still some fixtures to be played. So we're going to be bringing you those results as well. So if we first will start off in the Southern League Premier Central, suppose the big team from our area is the fact that Leiston lost 1-0 away to St Ives. You can see the other results on the screen as well. And this is how the league table is positioned. We've still got Needham Market in second place, Lowestoft in 14th after 7 games, and Leiston still to pick up a win. The midweek fixtures that you can go to if you are in the area, we have got 3 games for our local side. So it's Leiston versus Kings Langley, Lowestoft versus Biggleswade, and Needham Market are away against Peterborough Sports.
Been called off.
Sorry?
Needham's just been called off today.
Has it really?
Yeah, because of COVID concerns.
Wow, gutted. Right, so in that case then it's Leiston or Lowestoft if you decide to go to any of these games.
Leiston need a win.
Go to Leiston.
Go to Leiston, did you say?
Go to Leiston. Got to try and see them win and cheer them over the line before lockdown.
Yeah, they've got to get a win before lockdown just to boost them up, and then they can.
Hopefully, over lockdown, we might be able to get Darren Eady on again. I'll see if we can do that.
Oh, that would be good. I'd love to have a bit of a catch up with him and see how he thinks things are going.
Yeah.
Ishmael North results from the midweek. Again, from our area, we had Sudbury winning away from home against Selham Town Rangers 1-0, which is a very good win. Clean sheet away from home is always a very, very positive result. I suppose the other local team to us is Maldon and Tiptree getting a 3-1 victory. Saturday's results, we saw Sudbury picking up a 5-2 win at home against Whitton Town. Bury versus Romford was a 2-2 draw. And then we had Cambridge City, which game was postponed. So this is how the league table looks at the moment. 2 of our teams are in the playoffs as things stand. So Bury are on 4 games with 10 points. Sudbury have just absolutely jumped up massively in the table. They were in the bottom half before this week's action. But it just shows you how quickly some results can turn your season around. They're now in 3rd. Felixstowe still a few games behind everybody else, but they are currently sat in 13th place. And the midweek action from this one in our area, you have got Sudbury at home against Heybridge Swifts and Cambridge City versus Felixstowe, which I believe is very close to being sold out. So if you do want to get yourself down to that game, you will need to purchase a ticket online. Go over to Cambridge City's Twitter page and they will have a link to their website. If you want to get to that game, you must do it very, very quickly. All right. So we move on to some of the other results from the weekend. We've got the FA Trophy results. We had Felixstowe picking up a 3-1 victory at home against Met Police.
Unbelievable run this is for Felixstowe.
They're doing very well at the moment, aren't they?
I'm not being funny. You look at that league table, couple of wins, they're right up there.
Yeah,
they're right up there because obviously they've got those games in hand. I don't know how many they're going to have before lockdown, but they've one or two.
The way Felixstowe keep doing in the trophy, they're getting the games in hand in the league, but they're doing well in the league and progressing in the trophy as well. Like I didn't expect them to beat Met Police at all. So.
Yeah, definitely. Leiston will do well to beat Kings Langley. Was there Saturday. They were a very well organised side, according to Dan. So Leiston's result from the weekend is that they drew 4-4 with Worthing, but they won 4-2 on penalties. And Lowestoft winning 3-1 at home against Lewis, and Needham Market 4-1 victory against Three Bridges. So good wins for all of our sides in the FA Trophy. Sees all of them progress to the next round, which is very, very pleasing to see. Very, very pleasing to see. All right. So if we move on into the Furlough None Premier, these are the midweek results. The Haverhill Mildenhall game was postponed. Bramford 4, Whitton United 1. That was the game you were at, Adam, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can you give us a quick review of that game?
Oh, goodness. Whitton didn't deserve to lose 4-1, at all.
But they deserve to lose.
Yeah, I think it didn't look like that. It didn't look like a 4-1 game, but as soon as there was quite an incident in the second half, which led to 2 red cards, and after that, Whitton before that incident, Whitton they were 2-1 down, but had all of the ball in the half. They were attacking and they were carving some stuff out. Lose 2 men, and the middle of the park opened up, and that was that really. and Brantham put them out of sight. But Brantham are unbeaten in that league. I don't know what they did at the weekend. They're unbeaten in the league, but they look beatable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
it does.
They look like a beatable side, but they're just doing the business. And unfortunately for Witton, like losing 2 players in one incident, there isn't any coming back from that.
Yeah. So the Stowmarket game was postponed against Walsham and Willows. Wroxham continuing their perfect start with a 2-1 victory at home against Swaffham, and Long Melford and Hadley playing a 2-2 draw. From the weekend, we saw the Kirkland and Paperfield Stowmarket game postponed. Newmarket 0, Ely 1. What is happening in Newmarket Town? I'd love to, if anybody has been to any of their games, I'd love to hear what people got to say in the comments. We saw Swaffham 2.
So glad you said that, not me, because they're abysmal for the team they've got.
It's not going well. It's really not going well.
It's that not clicking, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You can have that great side, but if it's not clicking, it's not clicking. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
The joke used to be that Newmarket always won comfortably at home but couldn't win away. They can't win at home.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing they could always fall back on, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the home form was so impressive. Whereas this season, it's just not really, not taking anything away from Ely, because Ely have been absolutely fantastic in October. They have done really, really well. They've been a very impressive side.
Fun in October, like Ely have. It's been a joke.
Yeah, they've been amazing. But I wouldn't say I'm concerned about Newmarket, but I'd love to know what is going on at there to figure out the full ins and outs of it. But we saw Swaffham 2, Woodbridge 3, which is a very, very good win for Woodbridge. Thetford 0, Brantham Athletic 1. So that answers your question about Brantham earlier on, Adam. And Wroxham again, 1-0 win against God Manchester Rovers. Newmarket always at the races at home. Love it. Love a good horse racing joke. So this is
this week.
Brilliant. So this is the current league table as things stand. Wroxham 9 wins out of 9, 27 points, absolutely perfect start. Norwich United very close behind them, but they have played 1 game more. As you said, Brantham unbeaten, currently in 3rd. Ely, after a brilliant month, are up to 4th. We've got Stowmarket, who are unbeaten in 8th place, but are at least 3, 4, 5, 6 games behind a lot of teams already, who are going to be playing massive catch up. And obviously with this month delay, I mean, look at Clacton down there in 14th place, 5 games played. It's just,
they had a massive COVID layoff, didn't they?
They did.
They've now got another. I almost feel like they've cursed themselves, saying that this year didn't mean too much to them at the start of the season.
Yeah. Very quickly, Adam, and then I'll ask yourself, Alex, on that. Anybody that's standing out for you, good or bad, from that league table?
Well, I can't see Wroxham not winning the league at the minute. They just pinch a point any way they need to. And they are really pinching points as well. Like, they're getting wins at the death, and like they're just doing the business. But I don't know what they'll. Hopefully, like, obviously you want them to know they've got enough to do it for the full season, but they've got the boys there from Norwich. I think where if it went a bit wrong, they'd chuck a bit at it to try and get them over the line. Like Woodbridge are the team that have turned the corner, haven't they?
Yeah,
turned the corner.
They had to.
They did have to, and they've got it done at the right time, because Thetford, on the other hand, ridiculous, utterly ridiculous.
Well, I think that was the Thetford game. I think kind of woke Woodbridge up.
Yeah,
I watched the highlights of the Thetford game, and same again. It's kind of good when you watch highlights from a club that are doing it for them, and you can still see that they're putting out a decent representation of both sides.
Yeah.
And you could see that Woodbridge were struggling at the back. They were very disorientated. Thetford could get in behind them so easily. And as I say, if they had probably a little bit more confidence in themselves and a little bit more presence up top, they probably would have scored a couple of more. But
yeah,
I think that woke Woodbridge up. I think, hold on a minute, we need to sort ourselves out here. And it looks like that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously like a big change there, taking a bit of time to come together. The game
Great
that
going forward.
on Wednesday is going to be a big game.
Yeah.
Huge.
Woodbridge are brilliant going forward. Absolutely brilliant going forward. The way they counter attack and the way they attack normally, the way they build up plays is really good. You can see that. I think it was just their defence, and if they've got a couple of players in to steady the ship at the back, that maybe has done the trick.
Yeah.
This is interesting what Connor's put through about Haverhill. Mark Abbott's doing a very good job of speaking to the media and keeping himself very present despite everything that's going on, and still very publicly saying how confident he is that things will turn a corner and they've got it in the tank to not have anything to worry about. And I think only a couple of weeks ago he turned around and said he hadn't even looked at the league table.
Right.
I don't believe that to be true. And I also think that, we saw weeks on end them just concede 4 after 4 after 4. But, I mean, you've only got to look at the goal difference, haven't you?
See, the other thing is their reserves as well. There's a big kind of gap, I think, there as well. Because the league that the reserves play in, I'm speaking to the manager, because it's in the Cambridge League.
Right.
So me personally, I don't really like it. I'd prefer if you've got a furlough none side, you have a furlough none reserve team in their reserve league. The reason why I prefer that is because I think they can be looked at by the first team management a little bit more. Their goalkeeper is very good. I'd say quite publicly that the first team manager, if he's watching this, have a shout at your reserve goalkeeper. He was very, very good when we played against us. Made some very, very good saves. Give him a go. But they've got a very young reserve side there as well. So that can be quite difficult because you might want to change. So you might want to call someone up from the reserves. And if they're too young, too inexperienced, you haven't got that extra option.
It's a massive gamble, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a big gamble. But the thing is, Haverhill are a big club. They should be doing better. They have got everything there to be a big club.
They've got lovely facilities there. Absolutely amazing.
It's incredible. So.
Yeah. For me, I'll just very quick because I want to move on to the furlough, to the midweek action, and then to the furlough none north. My standout team and one team I do want to go watch after the restrictions have been lifted is Ely. I've said it. I've been very impressed with them during October. I want to see what they're all about. They're one team who've just quietly gone about their business and no one's really talked about them until now. I'm looking forward to getting myself over there if I can at some point, just to see what the club is all about, because I've been there a couple of seasons ago, but I really want to get myself over there. So they are on my list to visit after lockdown this season.
Historically, they haven't been a great team. They haven't been good.
No, not really. No,
I don't think anyone will mind me saying that. This season, they've shown that they've turned the corner and they're doing a good job of it.
Yeah, 1 defeat in 10 is very good.
Just quickly, Mildenhall, only 1 loss.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout.
I know it's 50-50, but I think they'd be a good side to go and watch and see what they're doing. Yeah. It's one of those other teams, isn't it? It's, look at Stowe, they've only played 7. That's so frustrating, I reckon, because it's just, you can't kickstart your season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. Very true. Midweek fixtures, we have got, again, if you want to get yourself to a game before everything is all said and done for a month, we've got Galston versus Thetford, Hadley versus Clacton, Kirkley and Patefield versus Norwich United, Mildenhall versus Swaffham, and Woodbridge versus Whitton. That Woodbridge-Whitton game is standing out and is staring me in the face. That could be a very... Whitton desperately need a win. Desperately need a win.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They need it badly. And, they've gone through quite a few players and stuff, and they're looking at... They've also they've got quite a big squad there, I think, is probably what I'm trying to say. And they looked like they were settling more into an identity and a way that they wanted them to play against Brantham. And just like I said, those couple of things just didn't pay off. And I honestly think, from what I've seen in other games, that they've got enough about them to not be in the situation they're in. So get a little run together, a couple of wins. I know now's not the best time for that, but there's goals in that team.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they just need to unlock them.
Alex, any other games that are kind of standing out for you? Just want to point out before I ask you that, actually, Dan is saying that the Kirkley-Norwich game is actually off now.
Oh, is that because Norwich are going to try and play there? Oh, I don't know. There's a big drama about Norwich United not wanting to replay their against White Ensign as well. Actually, I should have mentioned that earlier in the FA Vars. So I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because they're going to try and get that Vars game in.
Not sure. But Alex, what other games? Is there another game that's standing out for you?
See, I would have said the Woodbridge Witten game. Myself, obviously, I'll just turn around and said about Mildenhall. Swaffham, okay. Lost their last 2 games. I'd go Woodbridge Witten, but I reckon for goals, I reckon Galston, Thetford, there'll be quite a few in that one. Especially Galston being at home. Thetford going through what they're going through at the moment. I could see Galston picking up 3 or 4 there.
Adam, what were you saying? I heard you mention a comment about somebody else in there.
Can't remember.
Absolutely brilliant.
My mind is absolutely flooded with the announcement that we've got to make in a few moments about a certain result that happened on Saturday.
Yes, we do. So let's move on to the Furlough None North, shall we? So during the week, we saw Marchtown versus Haverhill Borough. It was a 4-0 victory to March. A very, very good win for them, and it keeps their good run in the league going. But let's get to Saturday's result, shall we? You can see it at the bottom there. We'll talk about it in a second. Downham 6, Great Yarmouth 0. Lakenheath 5-0 against Kingston Town Reserves. Sheringham 3-0 against Needham Market Reserves. But Wisbech St Mary 4.
Come on, boys.
Town 3. Get in there, Wisbech. Come on, boys.
Well done,
absolutely love it.
We said we wanted it last week. It's happened.
We did. We've already had for quite a bit of a loving for Wisbech. Earlier on in the chat, Daniel Barnard up the Wisbech. Joel Windsor up the Wisbech. Absolutely brilliant. Do you know, they needed that just to give themselves any sort of glimmer of hope. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what as well, James? That +1 for their goal difference is going to be night and day come the end of the season. Oh, dear. No, honestly, I'm just glad they've got the 3 points. It's absolutely madness.
But I think a lot of people were saying that they play quite a young side. So for them to get that now, they must have been absolutely buzzing after that game.
Yeah.
Just come away from it a bit frustrated.
Yeah.
How you've got to go into that game thinking you're going to get a nice victory.
To score 3 and still lose is going to be them kicking the teeth.
I think they scored the 4th goal in extra time as well, didn't they?
Oh,
I think they were 3-1 up, and then in typical Wisbech style, it went 3-3, and then they scored in extra time. Like taking the light away from them, like what are Yarmouth doing? They've scored about 100 goals in the last 2 weeks.
Oh dear. That's quite good results for home teams there. 6-0, 5-0, 3-0, and a 4-3. But I don't know. Yarmouth, I always found it difficult going down there, even at a reserve level. It was always difficult going to play against Yarmouth because 1, you had that big long trip down there. 2, you didn't really know that many players. Obviously, if you played in this area, you didn't really know that many of them.
Yeah.
So they were quite a difficult side to play against. But I don't know what's going on there at the moment. I
thought they started quite well, and they set everything up at the start of the season to be a more professional and better outfit, and they're just getting thumped constantly at the minute, and it's just silly, to be honest. Like that's ridiculous. Like, and that's not me saying Downham are a poor team, because I'm really not. I'm just saying Yarmouth can't concede 6 goals every week and think that's fine. It's ridiculous.
A shame for Kings Lynn, shame for Needham because they've been doing quite well. We were talking about obviously these reserve sides.
I feel like we've cursed the reserve sides this week.
Yeah,
yeah, they're doing really well, and then they got a bit spanked over the weekend. But Lake and Heath are a good side, Dave.
Lake and Heath are quality, though. Yeah,
they've always been a good side. Sharing them, I don't really know too much about.
They've had a bit of a tough start to begin with, but this is the league table after those results. So we see Fakenham, March, and Ipswich towards the top of the table, and then there's a bit of a chase and pack behind them in Lakenheath, Downham, and Leiston reserves. Obviously, Mulbarton, the team that we saw on the weekend, Adam, very, very impressive performance from those guys. And we'll get to the FA Vars results in a moment, but they were impressive. I have to admit, I didn't know what to expect going into that game, but Mulbarton are definitely a team I want to go and watch again because they were very, very good. Then again, we've got a cluster of teams in the middle of the table that I'm not really sure where their kind of seasons are going, but we'll have to wait and see how things pick up after lockdown. But again, Wisbech 3 points on the board. Get in there, boys.
Haverhill Borough carrying a -48, but still Wisbech carrying a -48, but making Haverhill look over their shoulder. Hilarious. Hilarious.
Brilliant.
That is the kind of drama and comedy I come to this league for. We're 16th with a -100 goal difference. Up the boys.
Adam, very quickly before we move on to the fixtures that you can still go to in this league before the lockdown, any team that's kind of standing out for you at the moment, or any team that's not doing particularly well you want to kind of keep your eye on?
Yeah, I think what's interesting here is that in a couple of weeks, the reserve teams have all slid down a little bit and the league is starting to shuffle into place. And it's starting to take shape in terms of those thirds that we spoke about a few weeks ago. Yeah. After seeing Mulbarton, like, they were so comfortable against the Step 5 side, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, they were. They really were.
Framlingham are a team I just want to keep an eye on as the season goes on. I know they haven't played, but I'm predicting, based on what's happened, something's gone on at Yarmouth, and I think we're going to see a big slide for them as the season goes on.
Interesting.
I still can't see anyone but Wanderers, really, but that might be the wrong time for them having this lockdown at the moment, because the momentum they must have at the moment is, they're unbeaten.
Yeah.
1-7, drawn 1.
This league's pretty relentless, though, isn't it? This league's pretty relentless at the top.
Yeah. Fakenham and Wanderers are going to be the two that are going to be up there. I think it's going to be between those two for first place. March are going to be sniffing around, probably make it a little bit difficult towards the end. Lake and Heath maybe a little bit more difficult for them as well, but
yeah, there you go.
Bucksmen
will get over the
line. I think anyone in that top 7, I'm not really sure how Leiston goes on, but obviously the young players there, how things are going. But those top 7, I think that'll stay tight.
Yeah,
all done bits.
Yeah, definitely. The midweek action that you can get yourself to. So we've got Framlingham versus Ipswich Wanderers, Haverhill versus Cornard, Lakenheath versus Downham, Needham Reserves versus Leiston Reserves, Norwich CBS versus Distown, Sheringham versus Mulbarton, Kings Lynn Town versus Fakenham, and Wisbech St Mary versus March Town United. So again, if you want to get yourself down to any game before the cut-off point of Thursday, I will keep saying it, these are a selection of the games that you can go to. Again, Adam, very quickly, any standout game from there?
That Haverhill game's utterly crucial.
Yeah.
Haverhill Borough one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Both them teams are pretty much on top of each other, and a draw would be silly. One of them needs to win and get themselves away from the bottom.
Cornard want to prove a point after Saturday.
You'd hope so, because it's another woeful result from them. Like, they won't be happy with it at all.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some good games in there, but as Dan said, unfortunately, Lakenheath versus Downham is off. I didn't know that before I put the graphic together. So that's disappointing. I would have liked to. That game on paper could have been quite decent. To be fair, two teams right near the top of the table could have been a very, very good fixture to kind of round things off with. So yeah, that wraps up the Furlough None North. Let's go into the FA Vars results from the weekend's action. So we had Budbrook St Michael's, the aptly named school rather than actual football club, 1, Stanway Rovers 2. Galston 4, Baldock Town 2, Ilford 4, Clacton 1. The Norwich versus White Ensign game was postponed. Adam, I know you're going to want to have your say on that in a moment.
No, I'm going to leave it because I'll get too political and Norwich don't like them too much already.
Walsham the Willows 5, Hodneston Town 1, Wellingborough 2, Haverhill Rovers 0, Whittlesea Athletic 0, Mildenhall 6. Fakenham 2-1 against Crawley Green, Mulbarson 4-0 against Newport Pagnell Town. If you haven't seen the matchday experience, that one is available on the channel. Go and watch it after tonight's live stream finishes. And Norwich CBS 3, Ipswich Wanderers 2. That for me is the standout result.
It is, to be honest. But Norwich CBS, who have just gone from week to week drawing, it's ridiculous. And then they beat Wanderers.
Yeah. It's it's a very, very good result. Very good result for them. Alex, are there any other standout ones from there?
Nah, that's to say the Wanderers one. So I had a little chat with Dev yesterday. I went to the Kitchener's game, and he was there, and I think they were quite disappointed by it because obviously with the momentum that they've had with the league and stuff like that, they were hoping to get a little bit more out of that, really. But say Galston as well. You look at that 4-2. That's a good result. Say home again. I think Galston at home are doing quite well at the moment, I believe. Walsham, another good result for them. Unfortunately for Haverhill, that's another loss.
Yeah. Adam, would you like to answer Dean's comment?
White Ensign played in the week against a team, then got notified about COVID, which caused an issue with White Ensign, I believe. And then Norwich said they didn't feel comfortable playing the game in a week's time, refused to rearrange the fixture, which gives Norwich an automatic pass through to the next round.
Right.
Then a load of stuff happened on social media, which they then put a statement forward. But because then lockdowns happened and they wouldn't arrange it for a midweek time, I believe the fixture's just gone to Norwich anyway. I don't want to misinform everyone, so fact check elsewhere because I've only had that in bits. But
yeah,
it's genuinely a bit of a muddle on social media because their manager was coming out saying stuff about being disappointed, and Norwich kept quiet on it all until they put a little official statement up about it. And
right,
it got very messy. No one said anything, and then there was just your general all-out Twitter war about how disgusting Norwich United were and stuff, and it got very messy.
Yeah, there you go. Norwich have been awarded the fixture according to Twitter. Buck's just saying in regards to his game against Norwich CBS, he said Norwich deserved it for the second half display. Honesty, love that. Love that. Yeah, got to hold your hands up on that point. Well done. Suffolk Senior Cup results time, and then we're going to move on to the SIL. Achilles 0, Framlingham 4. We have Bilderston 1-0 against Capel Plough. Debenham and East Burgold playing at a 2-2 draw, with East Burgold winning 8-7 on penalties. Hawley 3, Crane Sports 1. Haverhill Borough 2-1 against Copplestonians. Henley 3-1 against Cornard United. Leyton St Margaret's 4, Westerfield 2, Old Newton 1, Halesworth Town 3. Trimley and Leyton Reserves playing out a 2-2 draw, with Trimley winning 4-3 on penalties. And the Friday night fixture, which was Sudbury Sports Academy 0, Bennell St Mary 1, up the Bennell. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That doesn't show, looking at those results, how good non-league football is now. I don't think anything else will, because that's not just semi-professional sides trouncing well, we're not classed as semi-professional, amateur football.
Tight games, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, where the SIL, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
You know, and as I say, those results, you look at that, the ones that stand out for me, obviously, Henley result, 3-1. Brucey getting a hat-trick on that one, which I think
164 goals and 165 appearances for Clark Bruce.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Absolutely stupid.
The man is
the sort of step 7 Messi.
I like it.
It's great. And I think the good thing as well with him being there as well, he's teaching the young boys that are coming through as well how to play the game and to show that playing at that level is not a bad thing.
Definitely.
You know, the other result there, the Bennell result, brilliant. The Trimley Laceham reserves, I love that. Absolutely love that result.
Good highlights from that Bennell game. Whoever put them together, they were decent.
I haven't seen them yet.
I don't actually know who it was.
It's the Essex and Suffolk Border League. They put that highlights package together. So if you want to go and check those out,
about an hour after the game finished.
Yeah,
stupidly quick.
He's very
unbelievably quick. Dean's, but a lot of teams would do well in furlough, and however, how many would do well stepping down?
Well,
that's a very good question.
I would take that question to the game that we witnessed on Saturday. The step 5 side looked absolutely lost. Their centre forward was utterly atrocious.
Adam, no,
awful. No, I'm going to say it. He was dreadful, and they wouldn't cope at step 6 in our area.
Wow.
Genuinely don't think they would.
Big shout.
But
there's do you know the thing that I think I haven't obviously played that level. I've watched a couple. Yes, Daniel, I agree with that. I'll talk about that in a minute. The way the different styles of football as well. SIL, I believe, some people may disagree with me. I think it's a lot quicker than furlough none. Furlough none, I think that you have a lot of time on the ball, you have a lot more space, and you can build up a lot slower in some way. Where SIL, you don't get no time on the ball.
No.
It starts from the moment that ball gets kicked. People just want to win that ball back straight away, and it's starting to show as well. But what Daniel turned around and said, obviously about the Ablett brothers for Henley first team, this is what youth is what I talk about a lot, bringing the youth through, and it's starting to show now, and other teams need to start doing it. They're both very, very good players, and just honestly just watch out for them because I think they're going to do very well this season and next.
Do you think now that we've got a bit of a month's break, maybe some people will start looking towards what their reserves and academy sides have started to do, and they'll have a bit of a reflection now? They can actually stop and pause and think, right, where are we actually at in the table? Where are we realistically going? Right. Well, if we're not going anywhere, maybe now's the time to start experimenting. Yeah. Let's chuck a few more of our lads in there and see what they're capable of.
I think there's so many players that are in the reserve. Sorry,
I said Stanton brought youngsters through at the weekend. Yep. Great effect.
Yep.
Excellent effect, and you love to see it.
You do get some players that probably slip under the radar a little bit. You know, I've had 2 players from last season that have gone through at Ransom's first team, playing Ransom's first team regularly. I've had 2 players that were with me at Ransom's last season that have gone through Henley first team. And those 4 are doing really, really well there. It may only be 2 or 3 young players that push through, but that can make so much of a difference. Because to sit there and go, if God forbid anything happens, if a player gets injured or something like that, if they haven't got that constant communication with the reserve manager or that that they will go and watch players play and stuff like that. They're not going to know. You know, it's. I want to push as many of the young players that play for me through to the first team, and I say it every week when I do my team talk. You know, if they want to get to that level, I will always try and push them through as much as I can. But they've got to want it themselves as well.
Yeah, definitely.
If they don't, then they won't get noticed.
Adam, what do you make of this comment? The Roy Keane of local football.
I'll take that all day long. Like I'd rather be honest. I'm not going to sit there saying number 9 for Newport Pagnell was an absolute joy to behold when he had a 50-pence boot and couldn't find any space to run into all game long, but managed to play the full 90. Absolute farce.
I think people appreciate your honesty. They really, really do. Right, let's move on to the SIL Senior. There was only the one game in the Senior, which was Bournevale 2, Ransom Sports 4. So a very good win for Ransoms there. And from what I'm hearing, and I don't know if this is true, so apologies if it's not correct, I am hearing that there are big changes coming at Bournevale United. I don't know if that is to be confirmed or what's going to be happening, but apparently it looks as if changes are happening at the club.
DeeJam on the rumor mill.
That's you know, if you're going to be the, I can't have you, mate, you know, stealing all the limelight. If you're going to be dropping bombs like that, I've got to be there as well. Let's see. There we go.
Oh, well.
Peter, manager, has retired. So there you go. So there are big changes then coming at the club.
It's massive.
Massive. Alex, what do you know about that?
Obviously, Peter went there a couple of seasons ago with me, and remember speaking to Peter before I went to Ransoms with Chris Collins. We were going to do the reserves down there. And he's been in and around football for a long time. He's done very well. Obviously, when they were Felixstowe Harpers, obviously a lot of players left down there in the first team, but then I thought they were starting to pick it up a little bit. Obviously, the reserves are a good side as well. They've got some very good players playing for the reserves, and hopefully that was going to kick through to the first team. Don't know. Well, there you go. Panda and Damo taking charge. So Panda's been working, I believe, he's been working with Peter quite a while.
Right.
So
a bit of continuity there, at least.
Yeah, if he's got the same, obviously, mentality and stuff like that as what Peter has, then hopefully they can push through. As a good result for Ransoms. I think Ransoms needed that to give them a bit of a boost, obviously, going into lockdown and stuff like that. But no, I say Panda will do well there if he's, let's say, been in and around Peter already. So
you've just seen that comment as well, isn't it? There you go. So let's have a look at the league table. This is the final league table moving into the lockdown then. So Claydon finish it top of the table. Halesworth just behind them with Trimley. East Burgold is so close at the top there. That move for Ransoms moves them up into 7th place. They're on 6 games with 12 points. Again, you know, they win their game in hand and they're right in the mix as well. It's unbelievably tight there. And we've still got a load of teams at the bottom who have yet to kickstart their season. We said the same thing last week, but with only the one result to go through, we won't go and speculate on that and talk about that league table, but we'll potentially doing that next week. So, Div 1 results. Let's move on. So we've got Bedricks 4, Backton United 2, Coddenham 5-0 win against Wenhaston United. Stanton 7-1 against AFC Kesgrave. You mentioned about Stanton. They were very, very happy on social media over the weekend, and for good reason. Bringing through a lot of their youth players is a very, very good result for them. Stowe Falcons 2-0 against Barham. So Barham did play a game. Congratulations.
They're still tight for being on the old Bondi Beach, aren't they? Oh, come on, boys. Get them cocktails out of your hands.
The big fixture of the weekend between Tattingstone and Sporting finished on a Desmond, and Wickham 3, Grunsborough 2. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the video highlight that Wickham sent over to me. uploaded in time, so apologies, lads. They had their third goal and some brilliant commentary. I'll try and play it for you guys next week. But yeah, so great results there. Adam, which result kind of stands out for you?
Wickham are that's just a train that won't stop anyway. But for me, it is the Stanton result, and it's the actual confidence in the youth, bringing the youth through, doing it, being loud and proud about it, struggling at the start of the season, getting a win last week, and then bashing a 7-1 with the youth in there. That's like they're making changes there that we heard about last week.
Yeah, from Fergus, who was on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Like Ferg was quite confident about how he was doing things, and early doors it seems to not only be working but spreading a good feeling around the club.
Yeah, the positivity on social media was there for everyone to see, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On the weekend, it was really, really nice to see from everyone at the club.
I think when you have someone come in that has
go on, Alex.
Sorry, when you have someone come in that has that confidence, it just pushes it through to the players as well. You know, if you have someone that comes in that's quite static and just goes, well, all right, lads, we need a win. Okay, we need a win. We know that already. You know, when you've got someone with his enthusiasm that's gone in there and it's just gone, right, okay, we might make a few little changes. This is what we can do. We're going to hear this, and it just brings confidence throughout the club.
Can we talk briefly about the TAT result?
What would you like to say on it?
Well, that was on our Super Six last week, and that is the game that most people got the right result on.
Really?
Everyone, yeah. That was the result that was correct more often than any other. And I think everything that we were saying last week, we were saying it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Probably a 2-2 draw probably is what the game deserved, with two very good sides that are going well.
I said Tattingstone, didn't I? I think I predicted that.
You didn't get many points, so whatever you said was probably incorrect.
Again, I'm calling for an independent inquiry.
I don't know what do the maths, run the league table, then update it onto the graphic design software. I'll hand that over to you if you want to do it, but I don't think you do.
I'll do the other 95% of the show, mate. It's fine.
Dick. Get in that KCB.
That result worked out better for Wickham than it did for those two.
Yeah, 100%. Especially with their win on the weekend as well. They're laughing.
They must have been straight after their game. They must have been straight on the old SIL website looking at what result had come through, because it's done them a massive favour. Yeah.
And I have to give the lads over at Coddenham a shout out, because if I don't, Joel's going to be in my DMs asking me why. That 5-0 win is a very, very impressive victory. Again, and a nice way to kind of round things off before the lockdown. So this is how the league table looks moving into the second part of it. And look at Wickham there. 7 out of 7, 21 points, an absolutely perfect start to the season. And as you quite rightly said, with Sporting and Tattingstone drawing, that gives them a very nice cushion at the top of the table. We've got Bedricks and Stoke Falcons chasing them. And then, again, a whole load of teams, including Coddenham and Salford, who are yet to play the amount of games as everybody else. So it'll be interesting to see where they're at once everyone kind of levels themselves out. Stanton, again, since the youth has started to come in and the style has slightly changed a bit, they're now up to 6 points. And we have got two teams who are yet to pick up a point in Barham and Wen Hastings. Alex, I mean, what else can you say about Wickham Market? An absolutely superb start.
This is the thing. It's a shame that lockdown's come when it has, because you look at this league and go, right, I predicted Sporting, but Wickham they're just so consistent now.
I said Wickham just to throw that one out there. I said they're right from the get-go. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
That's the only thing I've got right this season. It's the only thing I've got right. So I'm going to keep banging on about it.
But yeah, you just, it's one of those ones where you go, you want to hope what happens is that we have lockdown and then we go back to business as usual, and it doesn't affect the results and it doesn't affect the sides and stuff like that. That's what you're hoping, because you look at the leagues that we've just looked at the moment, it's there's no running away with it. Even with Wickham playing 7, winning 7, they're not running away with it yet. it could quite easily change, because you've got, I'm not being funny, I say Codnor have only played 4 games, Southall have only played 4 games. I don't think Barham are going to shoot up the table, but they've only played 2 games, so it's.
They're off on holiday again now, Al.
Yeah, I reckon they are. They've got another month's holiday.
They've got their bum bag ready. Travellers checks in hand. Let's go.
So I've just seen Dean's comment. Do you know what? That'd be nice. That'd be nice to see them go unbeaten.
Why not? Why not?
I think as well, there was so many teams last season that should have finished the league unbeaten and didn't get that opportunity. So I hope it does happen.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to Div 2, we had Bromford Road Old Boys 1, Elmswell 2, Melton 5-2 against Thurston, Somersham 1, Saxmundham 3. The Stonham AFC Your Shirts game was postponed, and Ufford getting another victory. Again, a team that started off the season not in the best of form, but have put together a run of consistent victories now. 3-1 this time against Curtin Athletic. I want to give those boys a shout, because when you're a new management team and when you've got a new bunch of players, sometimes it doesn't get off to the start that you're after. But for me, that's a very good result from Ufford. I'm impressed by them.
So Dean went from running a reserve team over to running the first team. And I've always turned around and say, obviously, the first team's a little bit easy because you have that pool of players. But he's got a structure in there. It's now starting to work. You can never go by pre-season and start of the season because some players won't click. Now they've clicked and they're starting to pull those results in.
Yeah.
It'd have been nice to see Stonham play. I think it'd have been a difficult game for them, but it'd have been nice to see what sort of game they had there. We'll have a little mention of Bromford Road Old Boys. I'm a little looking on paper. I'm a bit frustrated myself looking at them because I think they could do a lot better. A few of those boys. So I went and watched Kitchens on Sunday, and obviously the boys over there at Kitchens, what they're doing on YouTube is brilliant. And a lot of the players that play for Kitcheners play for Bromford Road. So you'd think that they would have that gel on a Saturday as well. But I don't know. I don't know if it's, once again, it's not just clicked yet.
Elms were a good team, though, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they are.
They're a very, very good team. And one that I kind of said would be the standout of Div 2. That was my prediction early on in the season. So as much as the result is a very impressive result, it didn't shock me that much.
No,
if that makes sense.
It's one of there's 1 or 2 teams that I look through for a season, and as I say, I'll get frustrated with, because I say on paper you look at it and go, they should be doing a little bit better.
Yeah,
and it's just, I say Bromford Road, they didn't win last season. They didn't have all those players that they've got there this season. And when I saw them start coming in, a lot of ex-furlough and players and stuff like that, I thought, they're going to start kicking on a little bit now. But yeah, I don't know if it's just they've just not clicked yet. I don't know. But as I say, Ellswell, good result for them.
London away to Somersham as well, isn't it? Saxmundham 3-1 away to Somersham's fairly decent result as well.
Yeah, very, very good result.
Dean's
in the comments there saying, managing this side and seeing my lads working so well together and starting to find our feet up the Ufford. Cheers for getting in the chat, Dean. Really, really appreciate you coming on and getting your thoughts in the comment section. You're getting a lot of love in the comments there. You've done well there, mate. You've done very well, Dean. Ian Law with a couple of fire emojis on there. Joel's comment on here, everyone will look at Bromford Old Boys and will up their game. It's a very good point. And Melton and Ufford side by side at the top, not just on the golf course between them. So this is the league table then. We've got Wolverstone at the top, still on their 4 games, but they've won all 4 of them. Melton Ufford, and as you quite rightly said, Adam, Saxmundham on 12 points after 6 games. Bromford Road Old Boys in 5th. A chasing pack behind them. Elmswell obviously only on 3 games, but they've got 6 points from those 3. And just the one team, Stonham Aspel, yet to pick up a point in that division. But this is a lot closer, despite the fact that some teams have played less games than each other. This is a lot closer than what Div 1 is from from somebody who's running away with the league already.
Well, so some of them have done the business to keep it nice and tight, haven't they, there at the weekend?
Yeah.
Somersham is a hard place to go to. I know people have commented on the pitch a couple of times. But
the comment comes in again. Here it is.
It is the pitch is. But this is the thing. This is one of the things about non-league football and the level that we play at. You know, you're going to have unique pitches. You're going to have these unique places that you go and play at. It's what makes the game. And you go there, and you know it's there. You know that it's on a hill, so you prepare for it. But sometimes you can't because you're not used to it. You're not used to.
One type of pitch is a leveler, though. Sometimes.
It's.
We'll move on.
Yeah.
So, Div 3, we had some great high scoring games.
Div 3, we had goals in Div 3.
Oh.
All the goals.
I didn't see that result. Do you know what? I ain't even looked at Div 3. I apologise for teams in Div 3. I've not even looked at them this week.
Disgusting.
Look at all these results. These are ridiculous.
AFC Wanderers 7, Aldborough 4, Bardwell 7, Hope Church 0, Kesgrave Kestrels 9-2, Great Blakenham. Adam, don't be putting Great Blakenham as your team of the week. Laxfield 1, Ipswich Exiles 2, Stage 2, Ockall 1, Unity 0, Bromford United 7, Wortham 1, Witnesham Wasps 7. I mean, look, Bardwell, Bromford, and Witnesham. We all said those 3 last week, didn't we? We all said those 3 teams at the top of the table will be seeing this as a game they can win. Yeah. Not only did they all win it, they absolutely smashed it out of the park. Absolutely smashed it. Kesgrave with a very, very, very good win at home, 9-2 against Great Britain.
You score a goal every 10 minutes on average and still manage to have time to concede 2.
Maybe somebody from Kesgrave is in the chat and wants to comment about their game. I mean, you know, even the Wanderers Aldborough game, 11 goals in that game.
Aldborough scoring 4 goals in a game and not getting a win. They're going to be gutted.
Well, I spoke to Ethan Clark, who's looks like he's dual signed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Obviously, he's been coming back for injury, so he's trying to get us some games in and stuff like that. And he turned around and said, as much as that was a 7-0 result, Unity are a very difficult side to play against.
Really?
They're very much in your face and don't give you that time. And I think just kind of the quality with Bromford probably kind of shone through there on that one. But he turned around and said he did. He turned around and said, because they don't give you a chance. They're kind of in your face all the time.
Ethan Clark still signing on an SIL Div 3 team. That's just funny. Honestly, that is just funny. Like,
that was actually, I tell a lie, that was a result that I did look at. And I did look at, because that came up on Twitter.
Another Hattie, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
I love a marauding left back getting Hatties like every other week.
And I think there was one own goal in there as well. And Ethan got on the score sheet as well. That's how I knew that he was playing, because I was like, hold on a minute. So I had to ask him. I was like, was that you? He's like, yeah, that was me.
Look around the league though, like Wanderers, Bardwell, Kesgrave, all doing their bit to make sure that goal difference is evened up a bit. And I like that. Bromford still get their 7 or whatever, but other teams are still making sure they bang goals as well and not getting left behind.
I think you look at the other teams, even though you look at, well, as a good result for Exiles, because they haven't been doing great.
And for Stage as well.
For Stage being more, they're starting to be a little bit more consistent now, and you know they've had a lot of results that have been draws and stuff like that. So that was good for them to get the 3 points this weekend.
So this is how the league table now looks. So we got Bardwell, Bromford, and Witnesham Wasps all there at the top, only separated by a point. The two top teams, Adam, look at that goal difference, plus 29 and plus 30 already. We've got Kesgraves on 13 points after 6 games. They win their game in hand. They're up to 16. They're right in the mix as well. And then again, chasing teams behind them, Wanderers, Stage and Unity.
Yeah.
And then again, a whole close of teams behind them, Laxfield, Ipswich, Great Blakenham. It's a very, very interesting division. That title race could be so good towards the end of the season. That's why you hope that the football continues, because that top of the table now deserves to have a finish played on the pitch and not decided by people who sit there and make the decisions from an executive level.
Yeah, I mean, like the basic talk before season started was all about Brantford just going to run away with it. No one else will stand a chance, whatever else goes in that conversation. But you can look all the way down to about 6th and think, you know what? They're all in with a shot right now because they're all doing so well consistently.
I think Bardwell v Brantford most definitely is going to decide it, I reckon. Whoever wins out of that first game.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a very, very good game to go and watch.
Yeah, definitely. Dean is saying that Kesgrave are going to be in the mix. It's hard. Again, do you know what I mean? The top 3 teams have started off so well that because Kesgrave have had their draw and their defeat, they look like they're miles behind, but they're really not. They're really not that far behind. It's just because of how well those other 3 have started off.
Yeah.
I was about Wasps, and they're, again, pulling it out of the bag this week.
Yeah.
Windlesham are one of those sides that is.
You said Windlesham?
I'm
sure you said Windlesham.
Windlesham.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna defend Alex on this one because Tony's comment earlier on about my is it Wenhaston? Is it Wenhaston? Is it what is it? Wenhaston. Right. Okay. Do you know what? I had them on during the summer, and I still can't get it right. I don't know why that's one of the only names I really struggle with.
I've always struggled with Windle, whatever the Wasps. The Wasps. I'm just going to call them the Wasps now.
Well, at least we don't talk about Oldieberg too often, right?
Okay.
Adelberg.
Yeah, Wasps. Do you know what? Their pre-seasons and their first couple of games during the league, you look at them and go, "Oh, they ain't going to do very good this season." But then after those first couple of games, they seem to just pick up results and then start being consistent. They've done it last season as well. They just, yeah. Cheers, mate.
I'm gone.
Oh,
what an amazing way. I don't know, Vinny. I don't know. I get it wrong all the time. We love you, Alex. Wasp. Let's just call them Wasp from now on. Let's just call them Wasp. Oh dear me. Oh dear me. We've absolutely gone, and I think that is the perfect way. The perfect way to round off this week's show.
dear.
Do you know what? From a show that started off with the news that we all didn't want to hear, that we know, this is the perfect way to round off. This is the Suffolk Non-League Show. We are here not only to have the serious talking points, not only to go through the results, but we're here to have a laugh. Do you know what I mean? This is exactly what we're here for. The community that we've got here is absolutely incredible. I love you all so much because you've become a permanent fixture of my week now. This is the one thing, and as much as I love doing the match day experiences, this is the one thing that I look forward to the most during my week is coming on here, spending time with Adam, spending time with Alex, and talking to all of you lot. So I can't, you know what? I can't. I'm gonna get.
He's getting emotion. It's getting emotion.
It's honestly, I really can't thank you guys enough because you've been absolutely incredible with us. The show has been as I said, it's just been absolutely amazing what we've been doing here. And I really, really thank every single one of you that tune in every single week, who are there 8:30 on the dot, ready to go. I see people waiting in the YouTube room. They're there. They're ready to go. I see people's comments coming in. It's the same people coming in all the time saying hello. They're always the same people that are there to welcome us. It's just absolutely incredible. And as I said, we are going to be here every single week, every Monday, 8:30. So we will continue. We'll be continuing the non-league chat. We're not going to stop just because the fixtures are stopping. We are going to be here all the time. Adam, take it. Whilst I have a moment to compose myself.
So next week we're going to discuss Suffolk Council's policing on potholes in our tourist sector. And just seeing what sort of investment they're prepared to put into it.
That does affect the game of Kirby. You do realise.
Yeah, exactly. Because we can go out with one other person. So
are you allowed to do that?
Kirby.
Next week is going to be the quarter of the way through the season roundup. We're 25% of the way there. Unless you're Barham. I'll have loads to say for you boys. I've even made up a little picture of you lot on the beach this week, but James wouldn't let me include it.
I never said you couldn't. I just didn't have the time to bring it onto the show.
Did a little bit of graphic design, but next week we'll have some fun with that. We'll have a look at how every club has done. Get people involved. But what we need is for people to now start to want to come onto the show. We'll all have a chat together and have a laugh every week. And just keep it going.
So if you are a member or a player, coach, manager, anything to do with a football club, if you want to come on the show and you want to talk about your club and how things are going, please drop myself and Adam a DM and we will make sure that we can get you onto the show. We're going to be doing, as I said, as Adam said, a review of the season to this point and how each club should be doing, how they should be feeling. We would love to get as many of you on as possible. So if you want to get involved, as I said, drop us a DM and we'll make sure we can make that happen next week, because obviously there won't be any results to go through. But as I said, we're still going to be here and still talking about non-league football. So I really, really appreciate everyone's time this evening. Let's just bring a few more of your comments up on the screen before we go. Ben Durham, this is better comedy than Goldstein and Cundy. I will take that. Any praise over Talk Sport, I will take that any day of the week. Next week should be enough time to recap the reserve league so far. If people want us to, if we've got enough time.
We've got time to do it now. We could do it next week.
Well,
okay. We'll get it. We'll make sure we do it.
Make a note. Like I was going to say, Al, you should be able to help us out with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. That goes hand in hand with what Sean has put on here. Div 4 next week. Yes, Sean, we will talk about it. It's just unfortunately, look, we're 2 hours and 12 minutes in.
Is that all?
And do you know what I mean? Like we've got to Div 3. If we include all the other divisions, we could be here for 3 hours, and I don't know how much people would jump on that.
We'll do a 24-hour Children in Need live stream.
Oh, actually, that's a good idea. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that out loud, Adam, because somebody's bound to nick it.
We could have a live game of FIFA between Wintlesham and Wenaston. We make the players.
Laughter and high spirits are key over the next few weeks, boys. Yes, we'll make sure that we bring that to you. Fergus, thanks a lot for joining us, mate. Great job, guys, and another great show. Really, really appreciate it. We love the buzz, don't we, Alex? I guess that's in regards to the what's on there.
Yeah.
Dean Cooper, hashtag when hast.
I can't believe it. Do you know what the teams, right? Just give us the amount of exposure they've just got over just the last 10, 15 minutes.
Hashtag trending.
Absolutely brilliant for them.
Dean Forbes has said he wants to come on next week. Dean, we would love to have you on to talk about Ufford, mate. If you want to come on, just drop me a message, man. We'll discuss it. Dean Cooper, love the show. Well done, lads, and sponsors for making Mondays great. Again, a massive thank you to our 4 sponsors that we have on there. For I'm just going to drop Alex out so I can remove it there. So you've got Your Shirts, GBS, Matchday Marketing, and for Starling and Locks. A massive thank you to those guys. Tony. Jem, great show as always, gents. Really appreciate it. Get Vinny on. He's just been hired at Suffolk FA. They can't afford me. We'll talk. We'll talk. Shane, great show again, lads. See you at Woodbridge on Wednesday night. Great show as always from Bill Case. Look, again, thank you so much to everyone who has joined tonight. Again, if you're watching from a YouTube perspective, remember to subscribe. We're very close to 1,500 on YouTube, which is an amazing feat. Again, hit the like button if you're watching from a YouTube perspective. Twitter, retweet it. If you're over on Facebook, give the video a share. If you are one of those people who hasn't been able to watch this show from the entirety, if you missed some of the beginning, or you're now catching up at the end part and you've only watched the beginning part, whatever the case may be, this show is now available on all podcasting platforms. Just type in Suffolk Non-League Show and you will be able to find us. We've launched that. Again, thanks to our sponsors, we've been able to do that and bring that onto podcasting platforms as well. So from myself, from Adam, from Alex, really appreciate you guys being in the chat, and we will see you next Monday live as always at 8:30. But until then, and until next time, adios.
Cheers, boys.